Steve Miller is the president and CEO of the supplier company IAC. And Steve, I gotta believe that as we hear all this talk about autonomous vehicles, you've gotta be in heaven, because I believe that's going to put a whole lot more emphasis on the interiors of cars. And of course, that's exactly where IAC plays.
Absolutely. This could not be a more exciting time to be in the auto business. I wish I were 50 years younger, starting over again, because there's so much going on in the future. For the last 100 years, the interior of a car has all been designed for the driver controller of the vehicle. Now it's going to be more like a mobile living room, and we haven't begun to think through what all that means for what people are going to want for the interior of their vehicles. It's going to change. It's probably going to change more rapidly than any of us realize, and we're going to be there working with the automakers, make sure we're meeting their needs.
Are they coming to you asking for ideas? Are you taking ideas to them? How is this starting to play out right now?
I would say both. We send representatives, things like the Consumer Electronics Show. The big mystery, I think, going forward is whether the traditional automakers are going to still be the ones that have the brands that you buy when going forward with all these autonomous vehicles, or is it going to be, instead of a Ford, you're going to go buy an Apple or a Google? That's the part we don't know, but at least for now, we're working with the automakers who are our customers, helping them to think through what that interior of the future should look like.
You know, if I had an autonomous car, I would love to customize the interior the way exactly I want that. Is that a possibility, or am I just dreaming?
No, I think mass customization is actually going to be an important part of this. But think of the skill set we already have. For many of our customers, they give us notice 4 hours ahead of the time the vehicle is coming down the line as to exactly what color it should be, kilometers or miles, whatever kind of electronics go in it, which means there is the capability to customize. Another thing you see is that instead of very fixed instruments in place, you're now looking at big glass displays with all the electronics. So those things can be changed radically and rapidly, and it creates a lot more space because there's less up in front of you and more that can be tucked away. And that means that the flexibility for designing the interior around what you, the customer, would like to have is there.
Does that change the strategy at all as to what areas you think that IAC may get into or have to get into?
Well, here's the areas that we are into. First, you need a global footprint. All the vehicles are made by companies that have global footprint. They want suppliers to be there who can supply them every continent they're on with consistency of product and process technology. We meet that. Secondly, we are very good at materials research, so we can continue to make things more elegant, but at the same time lower cost, and importantly, much lighter. Stronger but lighter, because the whole thing is about conserving energy in moving the vehicle, and you need lightweight in everything in the vehicle to do that. So you're going to be looking at big, capable companies like IAC to handle those needs going forward.
That's a good point, because when we hear so much talk about lightweighting, everyone tends to focus on the steel or the aluminum or maybe carbon fiber that go into the structure of the car. You're saying it goes right down to the trim that goes inside it as well.
The trim, you want it to feel elegant, but at the same time you want it to be lightweight. Lightweight typically means a lot thinner material, so you need to create materials that are thinner and yet have the same tactile feeling of something that's rich and deep. And that's part of what we're working on.
Let's talk about the business a little bit. IAC just signed a new joint venture with a partner in China. Why, what, where, all the 5 whys. What are you doing there?
Okay, well, the reason we did this, a couple of reasons. One, we have found that even though we make flooring and acoustics and the hard trim, the instrument panels, door panels, and so on, that those are really 2 different businesses in the eyes of the automaker. They buy them separately. You can have the flooring in one model and then the door trim and instrument panel on another model. So they are 2 different businesses. So we are separating out those businesses. With the Chinese, we have been joint venture partners with the Chinese in China for the last 20 years, even before the actual IAC company began a decade ago. They've been great partners, and they wanted to go global with the joint venture. What that does for us, we maintain a share of that business going forward on the flooring and acoustics, but we also get additional capital that we can use to invest here in the US and around the world to upgrade our factories and be more aggressive on research and development to get to all of our needs on the hard trim side. So it's a win-win situation, recognizes that these are two different businesses that we've been in. We'll own part of one and all of the other going forward.
How did that all come together? Did you go to them, they came to you, or?
They brought up the idea more than a year ago, and we'd kind of been quietly working on it, getting more energetic. I made 3 trips to China at the end of last year to bring this thing home. And we still have to go through a regulatory process before the closing, but we're quite confident we'll get there. We got all the issues out of the way. In the agreement we made, it was on the 20th of December, just before Christmas.
Yeah. Sounds like a good deal for the company.
I think it's a good deal for the company, and it's going to be a good deal for all the places where we operate, including here in the U.S.
Steve Miller, thanks for your update on where you see the interiors of autonomous vehicles going and what you're doing with IAC.
Thank you very much, John. Good to see you again.
At IAC, inspiration comes from within, and it shows in every material choice we make, every surface technology we develop, and every design detail we obsess over. Because as a global leader in automotive interior components, we understand that it's what's inside that truly drives us all. It's why we create solutions that seamlessly connect consumer to car, sight to sound to touch. Visit IACgroup.com and be inspired.